Hello everyone, and welcome back to Literature Summary. In Part 1, we explored the giants of Victorian fiction: Dickens, Thackeray, George Eliot, Hardy, and the Bronte sisters. Today, in Part 2, we move to the second line of influential Victorian novelists. They may not all be household names like Dickens, but each of them shaped Victorian fiction in powerful, unforgettable ways. Let's begin. 1. Elizabeth Gaskell, 1810–1865. Elizabeth Gaskell is often called the gentle social historian of the Victorian age. She documented the lives of factory workers, middle-class families, and resilient women with remarkable sympathy. Her writing blends social critique with warmth, humor, and keen observation. Major works. Mary Barton, 1848, portrays industrial Manchester from the viewpoint of the working poor. Gaskell shows how poverty threatens family bonds, morality, and social harmony. Cranford, 1853, is a delightful portrait of a small town run almost entirely by women. It's quiet, humorous, and deeply insightful about community and change. North and South, 1855, explores the clash between industrial Milton and the genteel South, through Margaret Hale's eyes. It's a powerful meditation on class conflict, conscience, and reconciliation. Wives and Daughters, 1866, follows Molly Gibson's emotional growth amid complex step-family dynamics. It is Gaskell's most polished novel, blending domestic realism with social commentary. Gaskell's fiction teaches us that ordinary lives are worth documenting, and that kindness is a form of wisdom. 2. Anthony Trollope, 1815–1882. If Dickens captured the heart of Victorian England, Anthony Trollope captured its institutions. He wrote with incredible discipline 3 hours every morning and produced a world of churches, parliaments, and drawing rooms. Trollope's novels are grounded in everyday moral dilemmas, social propriety, and the subtle humor of human behavior. Major works. The Warden, 1855, presents the moral crisis of Rev. Harding as he faces accusations of misusing charity funds. It's a gentle, thoughtful critique of clerical corruption and public opinion. Barchester Towers, 1857, dives into church politics and the hilarious rivalries of Barchester. Characters like Mrs. Prouty and Mr. Slope remain iconic. Phineas Finn, 1869, takes us inside parliamentary life through a young MP's rise. It blends politics, ambition, and romantic entanglements. The Way We Live Now, 1875, is Trollope's most scathing novel, a fierce attack on financial fraud and greed. The rise and fall of Melmotte mirrors modern scandals remarkably well. Trollope's fiction reminds us that society is shaped not only by heroes but by institutions, habits, and choices. 3. Wilkie Collins, 1824–1889. Next is the brilliant and dramatic Wilkie Collins, the founder of the English sensation novel. He brought suspense, mystery, crime, and psychological intrigue into the domestic Victorian setting. Collins wrote gripping plots filled with twists, secrets, and multiple narrators like early prototypes of modern thrillers. Major works. The Woman in White, 1860, blends conspiracy, impersonation, and madness into a sensational tale. Count Fosco, one of Collins's most memorable villains, dominates this narrative of mystery and deceit. No Name, 1862, addresses the legal vulnerabilities of illegitimate women. Magdalen Vanstone's bold struggles expose society's harsh injustices. Armadale, 1866, stands out as a Gothic storm of fate, secrecy, and dangerous love. Lydia Gwilt, the anti-heroine, remains one of Victorian fiction's most fascinating characters. The Moonstone, 1868, is widely considered the first full detective novel in English literature. Sergeant Cuff's investigation unfolds through different testimonies, shaping the future of crime fiction. Collins ensured that Victorian readers discovered thrills inside their own homes. 4. George Meredith, 1828–1909. George Meredith is the philosopher of Victorian fiction. His writing is dense, witty, metaphor-rich, and psychologically insightful. He demands effort but rewards thoughtful readers. His focus is on egoism, self-delusion, marriage, and moral growth. Major works. The Ordeal of Richard Feverel, 1859, examines a rigid educational experiment that leads to emotional disaster. It critiques authoritarian control and the unpredictability of human nature. Evan Harrington, 1861, is a sharp satire on class snobbery. A tailor's son must navigate the pretensions of aristocratic society. The Egoist, 1879, is a magnificent psychological study of narcissism. Sir Willoughby Patterne becomes the embodiment of male egoism, and the women in his life provide the moral counterforce. Meredith paved the way for modern psychological fiction with his intellectual depth. 5. Anne Bronte, 1820–1849. Often overshadowed by her sisters, Anne Bronte is now recognized as one of the earliest feminist novelists. Her writing is direct, morally courageous, and unflinchingly realistic. Major works. Agnes Grey, 1847, portrays the harsh realities of governess life. It exposes class cruelty and emotional endurance with quiet strength. The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, 1848, is one of the boldest novels of the Victorian era. Helen Huntington escapes her abusive husband and begins a new life defying laws, religion, and society. Anne addresses alcoholism, domestic tyranny, and female autonomy with extraordinary clarity. Anne Bronte wrote with moral bravery far ahead of her time. 6. Robert Louis Stevenson, 1850–1894. We end with the master of adventure and psychological tension, Robert Louis Stevenson. He shaped modern thriller, adventure, and dual identity fiction with lively storytelling and deep moral questions. Major works. Treasure Island, 1883, is the quintessential pirate adventure. Jim Hawkins's journey and Long John Silver's charisma define the genre. Kidnapped, 1886, mixes Scottish history with a gripping tale of survival and political intrigue. It is fast-paced, vivid, and emotionally engaging. Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 1886, is a haunting exploration of dual identity. Stevenson exposes the split between public virtue and hidden desire, an idea that continues to influence literature and psychology. Stevenson's stories remind us that adventure is not just external, it is a journey into human nature. These 6 writers expanded the horizons of Victorian fiction. From Gaskell's industrial realism to Collins's sensation drama, from Trollope's political worlds to Stevenson's psychological thrillers. Victorian fiction became richer, wider, and more adventurous because of them. This is the second chapter of our Victorian journey.
1. Who narrates most of the novel? Walter Hartright, central narrator of the events. 2. Who is the mysterious woman dressed in white? Anne Cath Eric appears on Hampstead Road. 3. Who is Laura Fairlie's half-sister? Marion Holcombe Strong, intelligent companion. 4. Whom does Laura marry? Sir Percival Glyde. Her unwise marriage drives the plot. 5. Who is the main villain? Count Fosco, charming but dangerous manipulator. 6. What secret is Percival hiding? His illegitimacy. He forged family documents. 7. Where is the incriminating register kept? Welmingham Church holds proof of his secret. 8. Why are Laura and Anne significant? They look alike, enables identity confusion. 9. Who protects Laura at Blackwater Park? Marion Holcombe watches over her closely. 10. What illness affects Marion? Typhus weakens her during the plot. 11. What crime is committed against Laura? Identity swap. She is declared dead falsely. 12. Who leads the investigation later? Walter Hartright works to restore Laura's identity. 13. How does Glyde die? In a fire, dies inside the church. 14. Who kills Count Fosco? Italian agents punish him for past betrayal. 15. Who inherits Limmeridge finally? Laura's son restores the rightful line. 16. What narrative technique is used? Multiple narrators testimony style narrative. 17. What genre is the novel? Sensation fiction mix of mystery and domestic drama. 18. Who is Laura's weak guardian? Frederick Fairlie, selfish and unreliable uncle. 19. Why does Walter leave England early? Threats from Fosco, leaves for his safety. 20. What does Laura's confinement represent? Women's vulnerability shows lack of legal power. The Moonstone, Wilkie Collins. 1. What is the moonstone in the novel? A precious diamond stolen from an Indian temple. 2. Who receives the moonstone as a birthday gift? Rachel Verinder, gifted by her uncle. 3. Who is the famous detective in the novel? Sergeant Cuff, known for his calm method. 4. Who is the main narrator of the early section? Gabriel Betteredge, loyal steward of the Verinder household. 5. What plant does Betteredge constantly refer to? Robinson Crusoe, his life guide book. 6. What mysterious group follows the diamond? 3 Indian Brahmins trying to recover the sacred gem. 7. Who steals the moonstone? Godfrey Abel White takes it to pay debts. 8. What is Franklin Blake falsely suspected of? Theft of the diamond due to opium-induced sleepwalking. 9. Who gave Franklin the opium unknowingly? Dr. Candy's assistant mixed into Franklin's drink. 10. Where is the moonstone finally traced? London, found in a bank deposit. 11. How does Godfrey Abel White die? Murdered, killed by the Indian priests. 12. What type of novel is the moonstone known as? Detective fiction, one of the first in English literature. 13. Who is Rachel Verinder in love with? Franklin Blake. Misunderstandings separate them. 14. What festival night does the theft occur? Rachel's birthday creates confusion and secrecy. 15. What habit helps Cuff in detection? Studying roses, known for unusual hobbies. 16. Who narrates the final explanation? Franklin Blake reveals the full truth. 17. What object is used to smuggle the diamond? A nightgown worn during sleepwalking. 18. Who is Miss Clack? A religious relative provides a comic, moralizing narration. 19. What structure does the novel follow? Multiple testimonies, each narrator adds a piece. 20. What does the moonstone symbolize? Colonial conflict, British possession of sacred Indian treasure. Novel 3, North and South, Elizabeth Gaskell. 1. Who is the heroine of North and South? Margaret Hale moves from rural South to industrial North. 2. Where is the industrial town in the novel? Milton, based on Manchester. 3. Who is the mill owner Margaret clashes with? John Thornton, later becomes her love interest. 4. What industry is central to the novel? Cotton mills, symbol of industrial England. 5. Who is Nicholas Higgins? Mill worker, strong voice for workers' rights. 6. What causes the workers' strike? Wage dispute, conflict between masters and workers. 7. Who befriends Margaret in Milton? Bessie Higgins, sick girl who shapes Margaret's perspective. 8. What illness does Bessie suffer from? Bisonosis, caused by inhaling cotton dust. 9. Why does Margaret lie to the police? To protect Thornton during the riot misunderstanding. 10. What event softens Thornton's view of workers? He feeds the unemployed, shows growing social awareness. 11. Who dies early, causing the Hale family's move? Mr. Hale, his death deepens Margaret's struggles. 12. Why does Margaret return to London? To care for relatives after her parents' deaths. 13. What brings Thornton and Margaret together finally? Joint business investment symbolizes new equality. 14. What theme dominates the novel? Class conflict, North vs South, workers vs masters. 15. What symbolizes industrial hardship? The mill smoke, constant presence in Milton. 16. Who is Mrs. Thornton? John Thornton's mother, proud, strong-willed woman. 17. Why did Mr. Hale leave the church? Loss of religious faith causes family displacement. 18. What gesture shows Margaret's courage? Protecting Thornton during riot, she steps between him and the mob. 19. What contrasts structure the novel? Rural South vs industrial North, core conflict of the story. 20. What does the ending emphasize? Reconciliation, emotional and social harmony. Novel 4, Mary Barton, Elizabeth Gaskell. 1. Where is Mary Barton set? Manchester, industrial city with harsh conditions. 2. Who is the heroine of the novel? Mary Barton navigates poverty and moral trials. 3. Who is Mary's father? John Barton, mill worker turned chartist. 4. What movement does John Barton join? Chartism, working class political reform. 5. Who loves Mary sincerely? Jem Wilson, honest, working class suitor. 6. Who is the rich young man courting Mary? Harry Carson. His murder drives the plot. 7. Who is wrongly accused of murder? Jem Wilson needs Mary's help to prove innocence. 8. Who is the actual murderer? John Barton, driven by suffering and class anger. 9. What theme dominates the novel? Class conflict, rich vs poor inequalities. 10. What tragedy affects the working families? Starvation, result of unemployment and low wages. 11. What job does Mary take to save Jem? Dressmaker, gains independence and purpose. 12. Who helps Mary reach the witness? Will Wilson, sailor who aids her escape. 13. Where does the key witness stay? Liverpool. Mary pursues him urgently. 14. What illness symbolizes the poor's misery? Typhus, rampant in working districts. 15. What breaks Mary's illusion about wealth? Carson's murder shows cost of desperation. 16. Who forgives John Barton before death? Mr. Carson, a powerful reconciliation. 17. What social issue is central? Workers' exploitation, mills, hunger, inequality. 18. What is Mary's final fate? Mary's Jem, they start anew abroad. 19. What character represents hope? Margaret Jennings, blind singer with resilience. 20. What message does the ending convey? Compassion, need for empathy across classes. Novel 5, The Warden, Anthony Trollope. 1. Who is the warden of Hiram's Hospital? Rev. Septimus Harding, kind, gentle clergyman. 2. Who accuses Harding of misusing funds? John Bold, reformer investigating income. 3. Who is Harding's daughter? Eleanor Harding, in love with John Bold. 4. What position does Harding hold? Precentor of Barchester Church, music administrator. 5. Who is Harding's powerful ally? Archdeacon Grantley, protective son-in-law. 6. What newspaper attacks Harding? The Jupiter, satirical version of the Times. 7. What is the central issue in the novel? Clerical income dispute, whether Harding is overpaid. 8. What institution does Harding resign from? Hiram's Hospital, steps down for moral reasons. 9. Who wrote the report questioning his income? Dr. Chadwick complicates the dispute. 10. What theme dominates the novel? Moral conscience, personal integrity over money. 11. Who controls the legal arguments? Sir Abraham Haphazard, government lawyer. 12. What instrument symbolizes Harding's gentleness? Cello represents his mild nature. 13. Who pushes the legal fight? Archdeacon Grantley defends church privilege. 14. Who tries to avoid conflict? Harding values peace over victory. 15. What breaks Eleanor and Bold apart briefly? The money scandal causes moral tension. 16. What ends Harding's dilemma? His resignation chooses integrity. 17. Who becomes the new warden? No one immediately, position stays vacant. 18. What genre is the novel? Social ecclesiastical fiction, focuses on church politics. 19. Who narrates the conflict with humor? Trollope, light satire on church life. 20. What message does the ending emphasize? Integrity over status, Harding values morality. Novel 6, Barchester Towers, Anthony Trollope. 1. Who becomes the new bishop in Barchester? Dr. Proudie arrives with his dominating wife. 2. Who is the bishop's influential wife? Mrs. Proudie controls church politics. 3. Who is the ambitious chaplain? Mr. Obadiah Slope seeks power in the diocese. 4. Whom does Slope propose to? Eleanor Bold, misguided attempt to rise socially. 5. Who tries to protect church tradition? Archdeacon Grantley opposes Slope's interference. 6. Who is the heroine of the novel? Eleanor Bold, young widow, central figure. 7. Who is the suitor Eleanor eventually chooses? Mr. Arabin, gentle, scholarly clergyman. 8. Who becomes the Dean of Barchester? Mr. Arabin, rewarded with ecclesiastical position. 9. Who is the comic character constantly in debt? Bertie Stanhope charming but irresponsible. 10. What is the key property at dispute? Hiram's hospital wardenship major plot conflict. 11. What is the novel's tone? Comic satire humorous take on church politics. 12. Which family brings Italian influence? The Stanhopes' exotic, eccentric household. 13. What disability does Signora Neroni have? Paralysis still manipulates socially. 14. Why does Mrs. Prouty dislike Slope later? His disobedience loses her trust. 15. What event exposes Slope's hypocrisy? His hidden letters revealed publicly. 16. What is Trollope satirizing? Ecclesiastical politics, petty rivalries and power. 17. Who restores order by the end? The Arabans, symbol of stability. 18. What breaks Eleanor's reputation briefly? Rumors about her suitor's town gossip. 19. How is Slope punished? Dismissed by the bishop, falls from influence. 20. What theme dominates the novel? Power struggles, church hierarchy conflicts. Novel 7, The Way We Live Now, Anthony Trollope. 1. Who is the central villainous financier? Augustus Melmotte, massive fraudster. 2. What major project is promoted fraudulently? The Mexican Railway false investment scheme. 3. Who is Melmotte's daughter? Marie Melmotte, wanted for her wealth. 4. Who wants to marry Marie for money? Sir Felix Carberry, idle and irresponsible. 5. Who is the moral journalist in the story? Paul Montague represents honesty. 6. Who manipulates Paul emotionally? Mrs. Hurtle, strong American woman. 7. Who is Paul Montague's intended bride? Hedda Carberry, niece of Lady Carberry. 8. Who writes sensational books to survive? Lady Carberry seeks approval from critics. 9. What political body does Melmotte join? Parliament buys influence. 10. How does Melmotte die? Suicide after exposure of fraud. 11. What is the novel's main theme? Financial corruption reflects Victorian greed. 12. Who is the honest Jewish businessman? Mr. Breghurt, moral contrast to Melmotte. 13. Who exposes Melmotte's fraud? The press, investigative journalism. 14. What does Felix attempt to forge? Marie's signature to steal money. 15. What ruins Melmotte? Forgery accusations destroys his reputation. 16. What social target does Trollope criticize? High society hypocrisy and vanity. 17. Why does Marie rebel? Oppressive father wants independence. 18. What does the railway symbolize? Empty speculation, profit without ethics. 19. What happens to Felix? Falls into ruin due to irresponsibility. 20. What message closes the novel? Greed destroys society, moral warning. Novel 8, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, Anne Bronte. 1. Who is the mysterious tenant? Helen Graham arrives with her son. 2. What is Helen's real name? Helen Huntingdon escaped from her husband. 3. Who narrates the outer story? Gilbert Markham falls in love with Helen. 4. Who is Helen's abusive husband? Arthur Huntingdon, alcoholic and cruel. 5. What structure does the novel follow? Dual narration, letters and Helen's diary. 6. Why does Helen flee? Domestic violence protects her son. 7. Who supports Helen secretly? Her brother, Frederick, helps her escape. 8. What vice ruins Arthur? Alcoholism, central to the conflict. 9. What theme dominates the book? Female autonomy, right to escape abuse. 10. What does Helen do to earn living? Painting, supports herself independently. 11. Who spreads rumors about Helen? Mrs. Graham's neighbors' gossip causes tension. 12. What does Helen burn symbolically? Her husband's portrait shows rejection of oppression. 13. What disease kills Arthur? Alcohol-related illness, slow moral decline. 14. What is Helen's son's name? Little Arthur, reason she escapes. 15. Who tries to reform Huntingdon? Helen, attempts fail. 16. What breaks Gilbert's jealousy? Helen's diary reveals truth about her past. 17. What Victorian law restricted Helen? Coverture women had no legal rights. 18 How does the novel end? Helen marries Gilbert after husband's death. 19 What is Wildfell Hall? Helen's refuge, symbol of independence. 20 What makes this novel bold? Condemnation of abuse very ahead of its time. Novel 9, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. R.L. Stevenson. 1 Who is the respectable scientist? Dr. Henry Jekyll experiments with dual nature. 2 Who is his evil alter ego? Mr. Edward Hyde, embodiment of suppressed desires. 3 Who narrates most of the story? Mr. Utterson, lawyer and friend. 4 What item links Jekyll and Hyde? A. Will leaves everything to Hyde. 5 What crime does Hyde commit? Murder of Sir Danvers Carew shocks London. 6 What does Jekyll drink? A chemical potion causes transformation. 7 What theme is central? Dual nature, good vs evil. 8 Where is Hyde's house located? Soho, symbol of vice. 9 What happens to the potion? Runs out, loss of control begins. 10 Who breaks into Jekyll's lab? Utterson and Poole investigate after unrest. 11 Who is found dead in the lab? Hyde died before final change back. 12 Where is Jekyll's confession found? In a letter explains transformation. 13 What Victorian idea does the novel challenge? Respectability, hidden evil behind it. 14 What gesture shows Hyde's cruelty? Trampling a child, early shocking scene. 15 Who is Jekyll's loyal servant? Poole senses danger. 16 What stops the experiments? Lack of pure chemicals, cannot recreate potion. 17 What does Hyde symbolize? Uncontrolled impulses, dark half of personality. 18 What structure is used? Multiple documents, letters and accounts. 19 Where does Jekyll prefer to stay? His laboratory withdraws from society. 20 What is the final message? Man is divided, struggle between two selves. Novel 10, Treasure Island. R.L. Stevenson. 1 Who is the narrator? Jim Hawkins, young hero of the story. 2 Where does the story begin? Admiral Benbow and Jim's family inn. 3 Who leaves the treasure map? Billy Bones, ex-pirate. 4 Who is the main pirate antagonist? Long John Silver, charismatic and cunning. 5 Who finances the voyage? Squire Trelawney organizes expedition. 6 What is the ship's name? Hispaniola carries them to the island. 7 Who is the ship's captain? Captain Smollett, strict and loyal. 8 What role does Dr. Livesey play? Doctor, voice of reason. 9 Who overhears the pirates' plans? Jim Hawkins discovers their mutiny. 10 What is Ben Gunn's role? Maroon sailor, helps Jim. 11 What do the pirates want? Flint's treasure buried on the island. 12 What symbol marks danger? The black spot, pirate warning sign. 13 What trait defines silver? Duplicity, switches sides as needed. 14 What does Jim do bravely? Cuts the ship adrift, saves the loyal crew. 15 Who kills Israel Hands? Jim Hawkins, self-defense. 16 What is found in the treasure cache? Empty hole, initially Flint moved the gold. 17 Who hid the treasure earlier? Ben Gunn found it years ago. 18 Where is the treasure taken? To England, shared among loyal men. 19 What theme dominates? Adventure, journey, danger, moral choices. 20 What lesson does Jim learn? Greed is destructive, treasure brings turmoil.